We did it yesterday night.
You know, the good thing about doing this, we'll never have to worry about it telling the truth. Hazen,
Me and Auntie did it yesterday night.
do one of you want to share what you wrote? No?
She knows.
She said no. Does that mean you're going to share? Okay.
You share, she'll share.
Where you go, Hazen? I like it.
On the first page, I said when I help someone, be kind to everyone, then you got it for
Corp, do you want to read yours? Wait, do you want to do yours?
Yes.
Okay.
What's the way yours? Personal responsibility can mean many things in work. For me, it's making sure I do everything that I can do to succeed. For example, having purposeful practices, mental strength training, and preparation for the day of. A moment I show leadership is when I do my best to support young contestants at the rodeo. A habit I'm committed to this week is showing gratitude for the sport.
Perfect. You don't have to share what you can if you want to. No? Okay. How was this weekend? How did everybody do? What did you do this weekend?
Clean stalls and went to the sugar bars also.
Did you? Did you buy a horse?
No.
Oh. Were they expensive?
Yes.
Probably. Oh, very. Okay. How do we do the rodeos? Okay. I did see right this video. You did almost fall off.
You wouldn't
You would have done it in style.
Can we do a safety share on Raiders?
No. It's a safety share.
Really, what happened in the breakaway on Saturday?
I got over my sunburn.
Why?
Why did you get over yourself?
My stirrups were a little short. I was too far over my horse, probably. She got short of me. She went right over to someone.
All this.
I just kept going. I stayed on.
Lesson learned.
I got on the saddle for sure.
For sure. So you
Never
don't
goes
crash.
after the stirrups.
Anybody else want to share something from this weekend? Are y'all looking at safety differently now? Did anybody notice anything this weekend?
Always someone alters.
Always the halters.
Always the alters.
No, I
Time to fast.
Yeah, hanging out.
tied to guard to a tree, hanging on the.
And I have to grab my photo from my mother
Yes, you may.
because she's late, like always.
Okay. All right, got it.
That kid, I like him.
What about? Did you guys show gratitude this weekend to anybody? Yeah, say thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dylan.
You said thank you to Dylan. Huh? Did you say care, Mark?
We took care of Mark.
What'd you do?
You did not.
You sat in the arena and talked to Scott.
We couldn't do it.
Okay. Well, not to hold this up any further, because there's somebody special to talk to you guys on today. Okay, well, we'll continue to talk to them. People are coming. How did you do this before?
I saw a safety issue this weekend.
Okay, we're gonna place the share.
I got really scared in the tie down open
Oh, that was
yesterday.
That blue horse?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him warming up and I knew it was red.
Would you like to share what?
It was just good job to the parents and thank you to everybody for keeping everybody safe because his horse was not working and then his horse decided to like
Do a
go around the
lap.
arena with the calf.
That calf, whacked the fence. So
It was.
I thought he was gonna die.
Who was it? Because I heard you got held out for using
There
the
was
saw.
somebody from
I got you. That's for people.
I thought I told the kids on the way home they should come and he should come and watch this.
Addie said you could dress.
Yes.
That I lift my ass.
Yes. Why?
What did I do?
We were all stop for a second.
Oh!
Why do we carry these?
Six outfits.
It's that simple, right? It's not ropes, but
But also like those one orange things that like curve.
yeah, the berries.
That's
Yeah.
the marks.
Yeah, we have those. And why do people go to those? Because what happened?
Because
Right?
it's all those packs.
Yeah.
The packs they go been trying to get somebody has an angle for it.
Yeah. Okay. Who's carrying a knife right now?
Not me, that's
Well, you're not carrying. Who's open the knife that's carrying a knife? Do you carry a knife when you rope?
Yeah.
You do not, because you told me last week.
No.
Not an option. You need these, and here's the deal. You would think you'll never need them, and everything you're doing okay, and I know it's going to work out, and whatever. There is a chance it doesn't. Something weird can happen all the time. And if you don't have one of these, you risk injuring yourself, you risk injuring the animal that's making hot laps around the arena. You risk the other people that are around you if you don't have something to get out from those wrecks. It's not a good deal. I watched a whole bunch of team members in Buffalo stand around going, nobody had a knife. And it was just happened that galley came loose with that horse was getting ready to carry that steer all the way around that arena. So I mean, basic tool. This is a basic tool. If you have boots and spurs, you should have a knife. So
Yeah, but I go to school.
you go to, Cutter, I'm talking about when you're roping. Like if you're riding and roping, you should have a knife for those unforeseen circumstances, right?
Even at home, but
Yeah, we don't want you to get in trouble in school.
Who yelled at me because I wrote the cat when I should have wrote? Actually, I threw, but I missed. But it was about don't make another lap around the arena, so I don't know why he ripped my ass. I think he was tired of everybody else roping because I kept missing them.
We have to remember, right? We gotta respect our stock, we gotta respect what, and other people are gonna do things differently. Like, when you go to somebody else's arena, they may route their steers differently, they may run their cattle differently, they may warm the horses up differently. Pay attention to what's going on in the other person's place, so you're not, standing there going, I don't understand, and get in trouble for somebody you choose your ass on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Be respectful for what they're doing at their place. All right, well, I'm going to turn you over to our guest speaker today. Thanks, Ray, for coming and speaking to the kids.
Don't think yet.
I'm excited to hear. So, does everybody know Casey Ray? Probably.
She's neither none, so.
I'm going to let her introduce you, but needless to give you her background, but needless to say, she is one of the coaches at Gillette College. And so she's going to talk to you guys about stuff that's important when you get to college to understand and be good people.
So my name is Casey Ray, and like Emily said, I'm the women's coach at the college, and I've been coaching. This will be my 5th year at Gillette, and I coached for 4 years at UW. So I've been doing it a half a minute. But I grew up just like you guys, just rodeo from the time I was little bitty, all the way. It took me through college. It got me a master's degree. But one of the biggest things rodeo did for me was introduce me to a whole network of people. A lot of really great people in my life that that's just a gift to keep on giving and paying off as I grow. So one of the coolest things of my job is I get to meet more people. So I get 20, 25 college kids that I have the possibility of making an impact on every day in my work. I think I have the coolest job. I get to rope and I get to yell at children. Those are my favorite things in the world. But so Emily asked me to come here, and I might fall on this exam, but I'm going to give it a whirl. She said you guys are talking about how, being a good human is just as important as being a good competitor. So when she called me last week, this was really exciting for me because I've worked at UW where there was 70 kids on the team, and there was 20 of those that were really competitive in the arena. This was a really great lesson for me because there's 20 of those that were really great in the arena, but that didn't mean that those other, 40, 50 kids didn't leave an impact. There's some of those kids that never scored a single point in college that I will remember till the day that I die because they were such great people and they demonstrated these values that some of the top competitors would have really, grew from having. Then here comes Gillette, and these kids are all super competitive. And I am way more involved in the recruiting process. So who you are as a person does pay off in the scholarship offers that are offered to you, and the people that recruit you, and the teammates that are either, they might talk to you one time, they might help you one time and say, that's not the guy for me, or they might be your friends for life. So every little decision that you make, every little interaction that you have with somebody, it will either work for you or work against you for the rest of your life. And I think this is super cool to start understanding that at your guys' age and hopefully catch up for you, Tarver. Wake up before it's recruiting time. You guys can't take me too seriously. Okay, so I kind of touched on that. I guess I want to start off by asking, you guys know Hayden Thompson? Do you guys know how many college national finals she won? How many titles she won? Any other guesses?
Three.
You guys are all right. Yeah, 3. So she won 3 times. And nobody remembers that. What I remember about Hayden is she's the first person I'd call if I needed anything. Or if there was one of you guys that was struggling, she could call and talk to any of you guys, and she'd be honest, and she'd be open, and she's got just a heart that's this big. If she'd never drive by somebody that's broke down, or if there's somebody that needed a horse, she's the first one to offer. This goes the same with Trevor Brazil. Everybody knows Trevor Brazil. I think they lost count of how many titles he's won in the world. But anybody who's talked to Trevor Brazil says, incredible work ethic, great human being. I talked to him this summer. I'd never talked to him, and he made me feel like we were friends, and I could ask anything of him. Just being a good person pays off to great competitors as well. So I think I've got 4 points that really stand out to me. So I've got accountability and appreciation, work ethic, and perspective. That really, I've sat down and kept thinking about this. These are the things that matter to me as a person, what I try to do every day, and when I'm looking at recruits. So accountability. This is the number one thing that my mom beat on me for when I was growing up, and I didn't get it until I stood where I stand now. Accountability ties into everything that you do with rodeo. It ties into owning your mistakes and owning that it's not actually Whit's fault. It's my fault. Maybe I needed to work harder. Maybe I didn't have my horse conditioned. Maybe I didn't prepare enough to be here. Maybe I wasn't mentally prepared. Maybe I didn't listen. Maybe I didn't turn my school in, and that's why I'm failing. There's just accountability ties into everything that you do. So I'm big on when you show up in rodeo for me, you've got a clean slate. I will trust you until the moment that you are unaccountable. And that's a one-time check mark for me. Then I will never trust your word again, and you have to work your tails off to prove it to me and gain that back. So this does tie into, I don't know, like right now I'm dealing with grades. And it's always, there's the kids that are great, the kids that take care of their stuff, they are self-accountable. They wake up in the morning and they have their list of priorities, and they know that they are college rodeo athletes, and that college is taken care of. I don't have to worry about it. I can do my job as a coach and provide them with all these opportunities, and they manage that time accordingly. But then there's the kids, the teacher didn't email, they didn't know they needed books. They didn't know they were supposed to register, and that's just not being accountable to yourself. So if you're accountable to yourself and you do what you say you're going to do, and you're honest, if I'm accountable to myself and I say my goal is to make the college rodeo finals, then if that's actually my goal, part of that is signing up for college, attending the course, completing the course. But that's all steps that have to be made to get there. So that's self-accountability too. I mean, you're not letting me down as a coach, you're letting yourself down as a kid too. You understand that? You're passing up on opportunities that people are willing to give you. You see this in the team really all the time. Well, my partner didn't give me a goodie. Well, my partner missed his ballot. Well, my horse short. Yeah, or maybe your feet didn't kick. Or maybe you didn't pace right. Or maybe you didn't talk to your partner about the start. Or, you have to try to set yourself up so that no matter the outside aspects, you're going to succeed. And that's just being self-accountable. That's sticking to your word, to others, and to yourself. So, okay, I'm going to ask you guys, can you think of a time where you maybe made a mistake in rodeo and you owned it or didn't own it? Can you think of a time when you did that? Rainy Hicks.
Probably in the game, like handles or and like your dealer can't do it all. And if you don't give them a good handle, it just makes their job 10 times harder. So that's probably
I also think it's important to differentiate. I'm kind of swirling over here. Surely there's swirling there used to be, right? No, I think this is important too. It's important to be able to own your mistakes without tearing down your confidence. I think a truly confident person can say, I busted my butt in the breakaway. I just flat sat on my tail. That doesn't mean I'm a bad breakaway worker. It just means I need to own my mistake and work to not make it again. Or, I've been exercising my horse. Maybe I just didn't ride very good. So it's important to not own your mistakes more than you own your wins too. So that self-accountability should almost build you up more because you learn how to deal with your failures without tearing yourself down. This one is kind of near and dear to my heart. Appreciation, I think, is another important one. I think you guys are, I was raised with so many opportunities, and I'm still given so many opportunities. And until you have put on a rodeo, or, hosted kids to come practice, or been a college rodeo coach, or been a parent, you do not understand all of the things that have to go into giving you guys the opportunity to be competitors, because it's a lot, you guys. It's really, really hard to make $1 and really, really easy to spend $5. And there's a lot of people behind you in a lot of different areas that you don't even see. So I think it's really important to thank the Strip and Shoot help, thank your judge, thank your parents, thank the people that help you. Step back and look at all the people that are allowing you to do what you love to do and not just think about goal number one. Because your teachers let you be gone on Friday. Those are people that are making sacrifices and having extra work so that you can go do what you like, So I think appreciation is something that's very valued in the Western industry, but very overlooked. I know these guys have put on rodeos, and it is amazing to me. We'll have 500 kids. We helped put on this rodeo in Gillette. There's like 400 and some competitors, and I think 3 of them came up and thanked the office. And it wasn't 2 days that we worked that rodeo. It was 12 months before to make it all happen. And the Western industry is not easy, and rodeos will not be put on if people don't feel like people are appreciating. So take the time. You're never going to say thank you too much. Nobody's going to go, they're just way too appreciative. I hate that. So thank everybody with a pulse. It's not going to hurt anything.
Can I interject right there?
Let's do it.
So those of you that were on this weekend, Friday morning we showed up at 7 on the arena. They're back dragging it. If you were up early that morning, they were back dragging it with skid steers and a mass. We literally switched arenas, switched barriers, switched cattle, half ran, they run through that arena. And we would not have got to do that without everybody's help. There were people, we put up a hillbilly makeshift kids bed.
Yeah.
And it worked. It wasn't great, but all of those people that made that happen were not the 4 or 5 that spent the last 12 months
Yeah.
trying to set it up for that. So those are the pieces that you got to pay attention to.
Yeah, I think back to my parents. I did not grow up with a rich family. We grew up super poor, but I never moved. We went to any rodeo that I wanted to enter, pending that I was prepared, pending that I put in the practice and the work. So all my parents asked me to do was to do what I liked every day and try to get better, so that they could bust their tail and make it work for me on the weekends. I step back now and I see all these things that they sacrifice so that I could have the opportunities that I do. So you have to really look back, and that's another point I have on here is perspective. We'll get to that. Another thing I see in college kids, and it's you guys too, everyone wants to send a text. Call or talk to people's face. It means a lot. If I send Scott a text and say, THX, thanks, do you think it means as much as me going up and saying, hey Scott, just want you to know, saw you moved the barrier over, really appreciate it. It meant more than you know. That's going to stick with him and leave an impression on him way more than me just, shooting him texts. Texts are convenient and easy, I get it, and there's a place for them. But take time to let somebody know that you're taking time to let them know. Does that make sense? It doesn't take long to make a phone call and to say, hey, I saw you out there busting your tail. Just want you to know I see and I appreciate it. I don't know. I'm big on writing letters, big on trying to show people in a big way that I really do appreciate it. And that's kind of getting lost in today's day and age. Then my third thing that I really look for in kids, we don't have mandatory practice. I don't really believe in mandatory practice because I had a program with mandatory practice. And it's like, when you have a horse that's kind of lazy, and you just kick on them all day long, and then pretty soon you quit kicking and they don't move at all. All you've done is spur, and then they quit. So you make it go to practice, pretty soon you're making them go to practice, and they're well, I'm not going to go as quick as you make them. So we don't have mandatory practice. We recruit kids with a whale of a work ethic. And I know that because the suckers are still at the barn. I tried to kick them out 3 times today, and they're still there. So we recruit kids that have that want and that inner fire. And if this isn't your thing, that's okay. My brother was so stupid talented with a rope. So talented, and he just didn't want it. My parents tried to make it easy for him his whole life, and he quit, and he's the happiest he's ever been. He's found his passion in another way. So if this isn't your thing, find your thing. But if this is your thing, pour your whole heart into it and bust your tail. Things are, those people that we're talking about that are sacrificing for you, sometimes I think that's to a fault, and I see these kids that'll show up and they've never really had to work. They've kind of just skated by on their talent. Can you imagine what they would be if they had the talent that they naturally have, the people that are behind them and the work ethic? I think about that. And that's kind of your freaks. That's the Hayden Thompsons of the world. And I just don't think that the top 15 are likely sitting on their pockets playing video games. Go rub the dummy. Agree with that. Yeah.
Ray, you've been around Hayden, and most everybody in this room knows Hayden.
Yeah.
And, obviously we've been around her a long time, but you coached her. And you talk about video games, you talk about the drive, you talk about how much time did she spend practicing?
I don't think 8 hours a day would be a stretch. She put in an insane amount of time.
It was a job.
Yeah, it was a dang straight job. And and she'd show up, and she had such an intensity. She didn't just go through the motions. Every run, she had a goal for that particular run. She doesn't have her year-end goal in mind because this is just a stepping stone to get there. But she is busting her tail for this run. And then she had that maturity that I was talking about to look back and be accountable for what she'd done, and she'd fix it on the next run. So I mean, you'd see her improve in a day, which is crazy at her level that you can just keep getting higher. But she was insane. She really was a freak.
I think
Full contact.
Full contact. Yeah, and like when I say that, full contact with herself, super quiet with her horses. So could differentiate, keeping sharp here and being quiet here. Yeah, she was a real example.
I think we've heard a lot, well, I am working hard. And I personally look at Hayden as somebody that, because we've known her a long time, we know how hard she works. I will absolutely tell all of you, I look at her as the person, the epitome of this is working hard.
Yeah.
And that's 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
This is what she does. This is her job. And so when somebody says, well, I am working hard, I'm like, I don't even think you're working at this point. Like, if you're putting an hour in, you're having fun. You're not working hard at it.
Yeah.
And so thanks for that, because
Yeah.
I was curious what you'd seen.
Yeah, and I think you're completely right. So my last point is perspective, which I think tied right into that. You think you're busting it because you put in 30 minutes. Take a step back. Take a step back and say, okay, my goal is huge. What's your goal, sister? No. Okay, I'll go down the line. Got a goal?
Not yet.
Okay. You have a goal, buddy? World champion. Okay, that's a big goal, right? So you say my goal is to be a world champion. And I got blisters on my fingers. Like I've been roping for 2 hours. And 2 hours is a lot. Step back and say, okay, that's a big goal. That deserves a big work ethic and a big amount of work to go into it. You set the bar at where Hayden's at that 8 hours. She's not a world champion yet, so it takes years of those 8 hours to get there. I also think perspective ties back into being appreciative. So, I know they just had this rodeo in Mandan, and I think it was a sloppy sucker. And I know that there's some people that are complaining about it, and complaining about the ground, and complaining about the stock. And I think that perspective ties into stepping back and going, when you were running the rodeo, what are your options? And are they feasible? Are there something that you could have done? And realistically, is it something that they should have changed, or is it something that they could have changed? Because you have to think about all these different factors that are into it. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes. I get this a lot because they're, coach, why are we getting up at 7 o'clock for the entry meeting? Well, because your entry meeting is a portion of my day. And then I've got 19 other things to fit into it. So maybe put yourself in my shoes. Or, if you get a bad call as a judge, you realize how many calls they have to make in a day and how fast a split second is. It's really easy to bitch and run from here if you want to stand it right here. A lot of I always thought my mom was so mean. She is the meanest woman in the world, I swear. And now that I have 20 of the little suckers over there, I'm like, she was pretty dang nice. She should have been a lot meaner. Part of that's growing up, and part of that's just doing more of it, but a lot of it is trying to be, before you make a snap judgment, step back and see where somebody's coming from, and try to understand what they could be saying. Because I think that makes you more forgiving and just a better, more well-rounded person. So all this stuff is stuff, I don't look, I'm going to tie this into my job. So when I go look at recruits, which I'm doing right now, I see a very clipped portion of results. I go to the Wyoming High School Rodeo website, and I see barrels and the goats and the break and the tie-down. And the results, I know they fluctuate year to year, because maybe you had a horse die and you're starting on a young one, or maybe you just had a couple bad rodeos, or if you're South Dakota, maybe you had one bad rodeo. So, and I don't go visit all these rodeos because I have a full-time job at the college kids. But what I do is I take into account the results. I take into account is the results from the year before, but I call people that know you. So I know that you've heard that somebody's always watching. You know, in rodeo, somebody's always watching you. If you're jerking on your horse, there's somebody that saw it. Well, I call those people. I call anybody that might know you at all, and I ask, you know, good human, with good work ethic. Do you like being around them? You know, tell me about that. So that being said, I'm not the only coach in the world that does that. This isn't an original trick that I came up with. You guys need to remember that everybody that you come in contact with, you have the opportunity to make a good impression or a bad impression on. And the better human being you can be all the way around, the more understanding and the harder working person you can be, the bigger impressions you're going to leave. Bigger scholarship alone. I mean, if you have all 4 of those traits, you don't have to win a dime from me, and I'd love to have you vote for me. And like I said, I'm not the only one that's like that. Yeah, I guess that's what I got.
Did any of you watch Lisa Lockhart's, if you hit it on Magna deal? Lisa Lockhart, I think, tied second, third, and then did you watch her interview afterwards? And she has yet to win a world title. Has been there,
I think 20 times.
20 times? From South Dakota, from Montana originally. And her interview yesterday, after she ran in the mud on her builders, was the conditions were not great for all of us, but sometimes we have to adapt and overcome and just go work. And her interview was not complaining, not degrading anybody. She said there's a lot of money up, and we're trying to get to the end of the season, and we're all pushing to the end. And I just tried to pull it, I can't find it. But there was not a negative thing throughout the whole thing. They were in Muddy Gas for 4 days.
Yeah.
And if you go to, there was a gal here this morning putting the shoe back on. It was a barrel racing website, and everybody was just degrading North Dakota for running the barrels. Well, Fairway's calf was kind of worth 4,000 or 5,000.
Yeah.
I mean,
0-0.
those guys were all pushing at the end, everybody. And some tried, some turned out, and those that made the decision to go, made very, very well. But Lisa was as down to earth and complimentary of the situation they had and the opportunity for the money they had around them.
Which that ties into your accountability. So you've had the perspective, you've stepped back and gone, okay, well, this is what Van Dam has decided to do. I have decided to run or I've decided to trot, but I gotta own it either way. And if this is nobody else's call, this is mine.
Ray, can you talk about you going into the college level and finding the right recruits, because it becomes a team. And we have friends, and we, you know, you rodeo and you have those people that you lean on. But when you become a college team, you go to college rodeo, you become a team. And how important that is to get the right people on your team.
Yeah, this is super important. So this is something that's really hard to see in the future of until everyone's on site together. But like this year, I think we've got a really cool team. They're young, but they fit together really good. And the only reason I say that is this one's competitive, so this one pushes a little harder, so this one pushes a little harder. So you inadvertently, you know, they say the cream rises to the top. Well, the cream just keeps rising, and these girls keep pushing each other to get better. And the guys are tying from the post in the morning when, say, 4 years ago, there was a team there, and the cream didn't rise. So if one goes and jacks around, pretty soon two is going and jacking around, and then pretty soon it's all just a big waste of my time. And my time's pretty precious. So, you know, why would I put more effort into them, kind of deal, if they aren't going to put the effort in back? But as Emily is saying, these kids, they come and they get really tight knit. And you can see this on the pro level too. If somebody's home with somebody else and they say they have a poor mental game, pretty soon the next year they're out home with them again. Because iron sharpens iron, you know, you become who you hang around with. That's kind of our theory at Gillette, is to keep 20 really badass competitors and people around. And it's worked for a lot of years. It's worked really, really well. I think it's kind of proven the point. The people you hang around with and the people that you choose to run with are a big reflection of who you are as a person, and will change you too. I don't know if I explained that very well, but I tried. Under a dart.
Do you guys have questions for Ray about the program, about going to college?
Yeah, like, if I had advice for you guys, I'd say go talk to people. Talk to kids that go to college at different places. Go talk to coaches. Don't be afraid. You know, be really open and try to learn, ask questions. Just talk to them, get to know them as a person. You spend a lot of time with the teammates and a lot of time with the coaches when you go to college. So try to get a feel for what everyday life can be, because recruiting trips are a lot of fluff and sprinkles and rainbows. So try to get a feel for what an average day is, rather than the day you visit. Does that make sense? You guys get that? And pick a team that you think is going to make you better. I always tell the kids that come here, if you don't want to be here, I want you to go be where you want to go to college. I don't want you here if you don't want to be here, because it's not a secret. You know, like, you're going to show me, and that doesn't work very well. So go where you think you're going to be pushed to be better, and where you're going to grow as not just a competitor, but also a person. Because that pays off for life. Questions? I have homework. I was told to bring homework.
You guys have homework.
Yay! It's pretty easy though. I'm kind of soft. You'll be alright.
No questions? One question. Ask Ray one question.
You talked about a lot of your favorite colleges. Like, what's some of your least favorite colleges?
Yes, I love it. Yeah, so I talk about how my time is precious, and I don't mean that selfishly, but I'm the kind of person, if you want all my time, and I give you my heart, I mean, I do everything I can for you. If you waste my time, that's time I could have invested in somebody that would appreciate it. So that is my least favorite. And being unaccountable, being able to trust your word and not have to dig into your grades and see that you're not doing your school, that's a waste of my time. I mean, so it all kind of goes back together. But I want to feel like all the little things that I do, whether it's sitting at the office for 6 hours getting money put together to be able to give you opportunity, I want to feel like it's worth it, like it's making an impact in your life. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, then I'm good against Earth for you.
Yeah.
You wasted it.
Have you kicked somebody off your team?
Yep. We didn't kick somebody off. We kicked somebody off for lying to a professor and straight to our face. And that is a terrible thing. We don't want that representing our school or ourselves. So that was a big no-go for us. We've dealt with a lot of different things because the kids were honest and upfront and willing to own their actions. Yeah.
How long do you guys spend over that day, like from the start?
Roughly 2 hours a day, about every day. And the girls will spend probably 2 hours on the ground every week. We spend, the calves run for 6 to 8 hours a day through, and it just depends on how many horses they're riding for that. They spend a lot of time. These sessions.
So what are your practices?
Every day we tie goats. Every morning we tie goats. And this kind of changes as we work around schedules, so it depends on the year. But we run calves on Tuesday, Thursdays, and steers Monday, Wednesdays, and the shoot runs all day long. We run barrels in between whenever there's a break, and tie goats. Just kind of, it is able to be real versatile to the kids and their possibilities.
When you look at your barn, the very nice barn that the community helped build, do you have an expectation of the kids when what goes on in that barn, how it's treated?
Yeah. This is, yeah, so for sure.
How your cattle are
The
treated?
bare minimum, that's what I was gonna actually go into. So the bare minimum is pick up your poop. This is just having respect for, and being appreciative. So I expect your horses to be brushed because I expect you to respect your horse and respect the people that put them under you and show that you care. And I expect you to pick up your manure, clean your trailer. Expect you to not look like a slob when you go to class. Present yourself as a decent human being, because this is all just a portrayal of who you are as a person. If you show up and your horse is covered in mud, you act like you don't give a shit. There's a pretty good chance you don't give a shit. And that kind of goes back into Ramey's question, if you're gonna show up like that, why would I care? If you're gonna trash our barn, why would we let you in here? There's people that would love to be here and really enjoy the opportunities that you're given. So, it's just an extension of who you are as a person. Pooch. What else you guys got?
I'm sure you see it a lot. Like, how much does it change your perspective on someone to see how they treat their horses or the barns?
Well, okay, I try to have perspective because believe it or not, I made a mistake at one point in my life, and I try to remember it. Just I know I was a dumb high school kid, probably dumber than most, and I know I was hard on my horses at one point, but I also had people that would rip my ass off and say, these are a privilege kind of deal. So I try to remember that, but it's pretty quick. It's pretty quick. I used to be afraid to say something. Note out there. I've gotten pretty over that part. I'm not afraid to lose a friend over being honest. And we have an expectation of how to treat stuff in our barn. If you treat them in a way that we don't agree with at our jackpots, take your money elsewhere. That's not the kind of people we want to associate with. You see it a lot. The cool thing about our region is we have fines. Rarely do you actually get fined for animal abuse because it's going to be back behind the trailer. But a lot of times I'm back behind the trailer. So I'm not afraid to speak up to anybody. I figure if I don't say something, maybe nobody else has ever said something in their life. You might say, get off your high horse, but I had somebody beat the split reins for jerking on my horse once. It was my mean mom, but it stuck with me. So I encourage you guys to be strong enough in your own beliefs to be able to say something to somebody else too. And if you lose a friend, you lose a friend. That's not the kind of friend you want.
This is a mom question. When do people start coming to you, or what grade level?
Yeah.
Right. When do we start that whole process?
I'm pretty heavily recruiting right now seniors, but I wish I would have gone earlier when I was a senior. I wish I would have gone and visited as a junior. So I think you guys, the earlier you go, I don't think it hurts at all. And then you start, if you go now and you start cultivating a relationship with a coach or a team, you learn the more as you go. I don't think you can go too early. But as far as myself as a coach, that's why I say reach out, because a lot of times I'm just recruiting seniors.
Yeah.
That might have certain juniors, but it's hard to keep track of all of them as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good for you guys to not be afraid. Go talk to people, go visit places.
How important is it for the kid themselves to reach out, not the parent?
That means a lot to me, honestly. And that's something that I think ties into your self-accountability. I have parents call me all the time about grades, and I don't mind talking to parents. We have some really great parents. Ultimately, though, I don't tell the parents very much about the kid's grade, because to me, that's their responsibility. So if you want to come grade with me, I'd love to hear from you, because, dad's not coming. dad's gotta stay home, like, that's the fact of it, and it's part of it, and it's scary. I was terrified to talk to Will the Duke, as charming as he is, and I remember this, but I also was able to make a relationship with it last time, and paid off now. So I think it's important that you guys go talk to the coaches and show that you're not afraid, and you don't have to text them, you can call, you can maybe even talk to them face to face. But no, I think that's super important. Shows them that you're accountable for yourself, that you're the one that's gonna pay the price in the end, whether it's a good relationship or a bad one.
Talk briefly on that aspect. The college versus the high school.
Yeah.
With parents.
Yeah,
This
no.
it's a huge change.
It is huge. So for the first time ever, you're living on your own and you're responsible for feeding yourself and hauling yourself and feeding your horses. And like this weekend, we had a kid whose horse got colicky and he did not know what to do because mom and dad had held his hand his whole life. So now in high school now, it's important for you to watch all of the things that your parents are doing and understand that there's a lot of weight behind all the little things. I mean, making 3 meals a day is very hard, people. Feeding yourself 3 meals, I do not get it done. So try to understand that there's all these different aspects that are going to be thrown at you, and you have got to try to prepare yourself. And parents have got to try to, I know it's hard, but like detach a little and let you fail while you're still under their roof, so that when you go to college, the fails aren't as big. And I think that's hard. I see a lot of parents that are so, that they just don't want to see fail. They want to give them all these tools and they can help them and they want to and it's good and it's great. But then when the wheels come off the bicycle, the kids fell really hard because they've never had to do on their own. I can see both ends, and I know that it's hard as a parent, and I'm not a parent, so I'm sure I'm going to know a lot more at some point. But I think it's important for you guys to try to be a little more independent as you grow up, and not take advantage of all of the things that your parents will do. Maybe make dinner when you're not asked to, or offer to drive home at night, or try to grow up a little bit while you can grow up a little bit. When you go to college, you have to grow up a lot. Like that. And there's people like me who are paying you to be there, and I expect you to be grown up. And I'm going to expect it right now because I need you to compete so that I can keep providing you opportunity. You see how that plays? Yeah, that's hard though. I know it's hard.
We sat Thursday with one of our seniors that's rodeo in the South Dakota region, and she was telling, and her parents said very well. I mean, and she's talking about leaving to go to rodeos. They go around Minneapolis.
Yeah, they go through Minneapolis.
They have to skirt Minneapolis, and 2 of the girls had never hardly drove, let alone, and they traveled together, but they had no clue.
Yeah.
Because go around Minneapolis, it's one of the largest cities in the nation.
Yeah.
And you're 18 years old, a freshman in college, and
Yeah.
here we go.
We got to Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Marcus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also important, I mean, I know, because I had a dumb mom, too, that I didn't listen to, but they aren't lying to you a lot of the time, you listen to your parents, they usually aren't trying to set you up. So, do that perspective thing, step back and go, maybe mom's not stupid, she tells me this for a reason, she's probably made the mistake, she's trying to keep me from doing it. So listen, and they won't have to micromanage. If you don't listen, the parents are probably, your coach, probably going to micromanage. Keep the wheels on the way. That's just
You didn't implement a study group this year,
I did. I did.
Well, I heard that.
Yes. Well, dummies.
What's a study group?
Oh, a study group. My Scott, that's where we get together as a group and do our freaking school.
Isn't there in college?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be eligible, right?
Yeah, you gotta be eligible. And I get this is what I'll tell you guys. I have 6 girls. Not one of them is in study groups. Not one. It's not a boy. It's a freaking asset to be able to take care of yourself. Because this is week 3 of school, and I have 2 boys that have not done class. They have not showed up to class. Week 3. This is like, now they're gonna have to bust their ass twice as hard to get caught up to stay eligible because they've been jacking around. I mean, yeah, they practice a lot. There's a lot of hours in the day to do 20 minutes of school.
I've always wondered what are the academic eligibility requirements?
Yeah, so it's really not that bad. It's 12 credit hours, and that's roughly 4 classes. Most of the classes that these kids are in are online, so that means they are solely responsible for doing that. I mean, there's nobody to blame. I'm not keeping them at practice. They can do it in their playing video games.
You check their grades?
I think this is kind of a double-edged sword. So I came from a program where I checked grades weekly, and the kids that couldn't take care of themselves, I checked in with daily. Those kids never grew their own thoughts. They never tried on their own. And like I just kept them eligible by telling them what they had to do that day. I don't really want that kind of kid to be here anyway. I mean, if you aren't gonna be propelled enough on your own to do your own school and be able to rodeo too, then I don't think you're built for this program. I check grades once in a while to make sure that there's not kids that are flailing and don't know how to handle it. You know, we have a lot of options and I want to make sure they know about those, but I'm not your mama, and you gotta be your own person. You gotta be accountable for your own actions. And if your own action is not to do school, that's gotta be a priority for you, or you don't need to go to it. That's kind of my philosophy. It's kind of hard, because I want everyone to do good, and I have a soft spot for every one of the dingbats, but sometimes failing is the biggest lesson. I don't like to admit this, but one semester I was academically on probation. One semester, I did 6 years of school to get my master's, and it wasn't because I wasn't a good student, it's because I was too dumb to ask for help. I had 20-some credit hours, all as a pre-vet major, so I had all labs and OChem 2 and biochemistry and all this stuff all together in my first semester at UW. And I was a 4.0 student who thought, oh my God, I can do it, so I just study harder. And I could not. I needed somebody to say, hey, maybe we need to move your schedule around like this, or here's a better tutor, you know. But it was a lesson for me, because like I said, I only did it once. And then I learned the right tutor to go to, and the right advisor to go to, and it really, really made me cry a lot to be academically probated, but only once.
Fantastic. What kind of homework did you bring for us?
Okay, this has a little bit of, you need to find 2 people, and you need to either do one of the following. Either own something to them, say, Mom, I didn't take out the trash, and I told you I did. Or thank them sincerely, or tell them about your goals and why you're working hard, or what your plan is to show your work ethic, or to encourage them. So 2 people, and you just talk a little bit, talk them face to face.
I like it.
How they're making a difference.
I like it. I'll take that one. Perfect. I want to make you do it. I want you to text it to me. Yeah, you can stop this weekend.
Especially if that means you only got 3 days for it.
We'll get it done tonight.
I think it's on the above.
All right. Any other questions, you guys? Good. It's time to go roll the dummy.
No, you're on the ground, Sarah.
Okay.